Shalom, family. All praises to the Most High, our power, the great I am, loving kindness, the holy great one, the power of the Yahudims. Family, today I want to bring to your attention this information that have been sent to me. About 2 weeks ago, I received a package from a brother, from someone, Johnny Edwards. I don't know Johnny Edwards, but shout out to you. All praises to the Most High. So JE sent me 3 books. And these books, I was very interested in the information that was in the books. Because it talk about, and you're about to see right now. So these books came through. I looked through them, like the information set them aside. And the weeks that followed leading up to Queen Elizabeth death proved that those books were divinely sent. And in the midst of all the information that is being said about her death, there is something that the Most High wants us to pay attention to, and I'm going to point it out to you via these books. Now, these people have all your wealth, this picture you're looking at. This is a set of artifacts that is part of the coronation ceremony. You're looking at the scepter down here. You're looking at the orb, the sword. You're looking at the ampulla, the golden eagle that has inside of it liquid oil, but you'll find out where that history come from. Everything you're looking at is a hijacked history. When our people lost their power and other people walked in and just took over what they were doing. And also that also come with your wealth, with your turf, and with everything that you own, your culture and everything. So you're looking at a set of artifacts that goes along with the coronation, whether it be a king or a queen. These artifacts are part of the ceremony. So one of the books I received is The History of Coronation by Lawrence Tenner. Now, that's probably a book I would never buy. I would have never bought if I seen it. But that would have been a mistake, as you're about to see. In this book, there is a wealth of information in regards to the coronation and what goes into it, going back to antiquity. Okay, and it also catalog the recent hijackers of England, and also has in here some very selective domains, some very selective sacred sites that I believe the Most High want us to pay attention to. Nothing that you don't know, but today you are about to find out a little bit more. Real quick, this stone is called the King's Stone. I still preserve at Kingston. Now, when I said that, what did you hear? You heard Kingston, not Kingston, Jamaica. So this is the King's Stone, still preserved at Kingston on Thames. Now, you could read this for yourself. This is not what we hear. I just wanted to point this out to you, right? It's great information in there. We'll come back to all these pages. But I want to take you here at the coronation chair, the regalia. I want to take you to the coronation chair, the regalia, and then we'll work our way backwards. So why is this chair so special? This chair is special for many reasons, one of which the entire location is a sacred site. Remember when Jethro had the Excalibur? He just built his house around the domain that had the sword in it. And when Moses came through, Moses was the only one able, according to the Haggadah, to pull out the sword from the domain. He was the only one worthy to pull out the sword that had a massive amethyst stone in it and many other stones. And also engraved on that sword was the 42 and the 72 name of the Most High. So this is the coronation chair. During the ceremony, these are the pages that talked about the ceremony. We're gonna go back. We'll work our way backwards. The king or the queen will be seated in a chair to assume their powers. So why is this chair so special? Let's read about it. The coronation chair, the regalia. 600 years, or for 600 years, the coronation chair has been preserved within the Abbey Church of Westminster. It has been used at every coronation since Edward II in 1308, when Edward I captured the stone of Scone. So this is the name. The stone of Scone in 1296. Now, what is the stone of Scone? Let's keep reading. This chair is constructed in oak at a cost of 100 shillings. Now, oak is one of the, if not the best wood to build furniture. Okay, it lasts forever. It does not decay and only gets better with age. The chair has a high plain back which rises to a cracketed gable, originally surmounted by gold fleur-de-lis. The fleur-de-lis is what you call a lily flower. The side turrets had little gold lines. These little gold lines on the side right there, and then fleur-de-lis. All over here, these are the lily flowers. We're just describing the stone family. You can read ahead if you want, but just for fun, let's read together, right? The chair has a plain back, gold fleur-de-lis, gold lines on the side of it. The entire chair is enriched with decoration and glass mosaic. Okay? The king's painter, which decorated the back of the chair on the inside, there are panels on the inside faces of the arms of the chair, decorated with naturalistic foliage, birds, and grotesques. All right? Whatever that means. Let's go down here. The chair has been shamefully treated in the past, and in the 18th century, Westminster boys and others seem to have carved their names on the chair. All right, the four small lions which appear to be contemporary support the chair, and beneath the seat is a cavity which rests the stone of Scone. Now this is a cavity. It rests the stone of Scone. Scone is a location in England. The stone came from that location, okay? Allegedly, according to this record here. So let's keep reading. The stone itself is a reddish gray sandstone. Has an immense legendary history which connects it with the stone upon which Jacob laid his head and dreamed his dream. It has an immense legendary history which connects it with the stone upon which Jacob laid his head and dreamed his dream. Actually, it would appear to come from the neighborhood of Scone, where rocks of this type are found. Its authenticated history begins with the 13th century. 13, huh? It was then preserved at the Abbey of Scone, where it was used as a seat at the consecration of Scottish kings. The stone of Scone was used as a seat for consecrating Scottish kings. Okay, we're gonna get further into this, and I'll show you how many kings were consecrated. There is indeed some slight evidence to suggest that it was originally a stone chair, and that at some period it was reduced to its present rectangular shape. Okay, so now when we go back to this stone right here, you ask yourself, what is this stone? So this is the evidence that this is the stone. It had to be at least this big. And it was reduced to this little piece so that they can build a chair, the coronation chair, around it. So whoever is being consecrated, coronated, crowned, I should say, would be able to sit on that chair and in an attempt to tap into the energy that Jacob connected with when he laid the stone under his head as a pillow. Hence, the Jacob ladder story we have in the Bible and in the pseudepigrapha. And for those who don't know, I recorded a video over a year ago, almost 2 years now. It's called the Song of Ibidel, Jacob Stone. On this video, on this channel, go ahead, go back if you'd like and view that. So this is the chair. The stone has been reduced to a small piece of stone so that they can build a chair around it. Now remember, this chair is massive. This chair is about 6 feet 7. This is not a small chair whatsoever. So that kind of gives you an idea. The person who sat on these chairs were not small people. They were big people, high stature. So let's see. It was preserved in the Abbey of Scone, where it was used as a seat for Scottish kings were being crowned. Okay, it was originally a stone chair, and at some period it was reduced to its present rectangular shape. The coronation chair was made to enclose the stone, and that together they have acquired a symbolic significance through centuries of historical association with the supreme moment at successive coronations. Only twice has the chair left Abbey, or left the Abbey. That's my nickname actually. Only twice has the chair left the Abbey. It was taken over Westminster Hall for the installation of Oliver. And during the 1939-1945, which is the period of World War II, it was removed for safety to the Gloucester Cathedral. The stone, however, remained within the Abbey until it was forcibly removed on Christmas Day in 1951, taken to Scotland, and a few weeks later it was recovered and now has been replaced under the chair. Now this is not this is another artifact. So I want you guys to remember in the book of the remembrance of Enoch, Essen book of Haggai, meditation, that the ancients, all over the books of remembrance, our ancestors going back to Yatsika, to Adam, to Seth, to Enoch, who wrote on stone tablets, but especially your mother Kava, who you know as Eve. She loved her and Yatsika, who you know as Adam. All the ancients loved to worship with stones. They used to, in the book of remembrance, Essen book of meditation, Kava said, "Take me to the rocks of Semka, so I can worship my God there. Take me to the rock of Themis in Kingston, so I can worship my God there. At the King's Stone, located in Themis. So see, the rocks of Semka had special meaning for the ancients. The rocks of Semka, sort of like saying, "Take me to Stonehenge." Right? We're gonna get back into this. So, sort of like saying, "Take me to Stonehenge so I can worship my God there. Take me to Stonehenge, Connecticut Stonehenge, so I can worship my God there. Take me to America Stonehenge, so I can worship my God there." So what we have to know is these sites, these stones, the ground, the earth has a special relationship with the people, and these areas were places and still are places of meditation, places where we would go, our ancestors who would go to meet, to communicate with the other worlds. These were places where the other creation of the Most High, whatever you want to call them, would come to. Okay, on occasions, certain times, whatever, whenever it was necessary to come through, they will come through that veil, and they will come and meet up with the ascended masters that are no longer here and those that are still here on the earth. As such, when I went to North Salem a couple of weeks ago with my wife, we went to North Salem, and then we did a massive connection at North Salem. When we arrived at North Salem, we did a massive connection, and there was a man. Look at this. This looked like a tank, a military tank. Okay, this is a stone in front of somebody's house, somewhere in Connecticut. This is the one of the side of the stone in front of my house. This is at Brooklyn Museum in Brooklyn. This is in Candlewood Lake in Connecticut. This is Central Park, Manhattan. Oh no, this can also be Brooklyn Museum also. I think this could be Brooklyn Museum too. Yeah, most likely Brooklyn Museum. This is somebody's house. This is somewhere out here in CT. And when I went to this location a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I, we made a massive connection, and one of the entities in the stone came through, or in the sacred site came through as a frog. You saw the video. They came through as a frog. So if you're serious enough, and if you're sincere enough, you can make a connection. And out here in Connecticut also, we have Jacob's Ladder Trail that run through Connecticut all the way to Massachusetts, right? All the way through Massachusetts. So now I'm asking myself, if we have Jacob's Ladder Trail all the way out in Connecticut, and it runs through Massachusetts, how come this stone ended up in Britain, or in England, in wherever these people live? How come the stone ended up over there? Is there a reversal of the story, or is there a hijack that has been taken? We don't know. Spirits in Stone, this book is massive, have great information in it. So this is why these people built churches, they built schools, they built cathedrals, they built everything around the stones, because there are spirits in the stones, all right? There are the ley lines and the earth energy grids, geomagnetic field, that connect all these stones, all these sacred sites together, okay? Earth's natural energy and how it affects our health. So this is what's going on. They want to tap into these locations, to these stones, so they can benefit, I don't know, connect, whatever the hell they're trying to do. So now we got the stone. We have the stone now at the coronation ceremony in Westminster Abbey. This is most likely was the original stone at Kingston at Themis. Now they have, the kingdom over there have their paws on a lot of different nations, different countries. That's why they have Kingston, Jamaica, and originally Kingston or Kingston. Kingston is actually Kingstone, okay? Kingstone. And the Kingstone is none other than this stone, which is the stone of Jacob. The stone of Jacob is being sat upon, is being okay, I'm not even gonna mention what's going on with the stone, but it's under this chair at the coronation ceremony of kings and queens. But before I go to another book, at coronation, what is being said to these kings and queens? Let's see. We go to page 30. It says, this is what they were supposed to do. Okay, this is what's being told to them that they have to do, that they must do, that there is a higher power, and that they stepping into this role, certain things that they gotta do for humanity. But these people are imposters. They were not stepping into anything to honor the tradition that has been withheld by the ancients. No, this is not what they were here for. These people were here for money, for power, for greed, for theft. This is what they were in here for, and this has been perpetuated for a very long time, for hundreds of years, if not. We don't know exactly how many years, but it has been perpetuated for a very long time. This stolen identity, this theft of culture, of land, of resources. And right now, today, the Most High wants us to bring light to this information and release it to the ether, and release it to the air, release it to the geomagnetic grids, and let the Most High and his angels know that we are tired, sick and tired of all this theft. We are sick and tired of all these people stealing all these artifacts, all these lands, and it's time for them to return everything that they have stolen, including the land. Now, I know a lot of people would say, so where they gonna go? I don't know where they're gonna go. But I know this. When they went to Haiti, the ancestors in Haiti told them you don't have to go home, but you can stay here. So one of the things that was said to them, to the king or the queen being coronated, is this. The archbishop. The archbishop. So you have all of this up here, it's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to read it. But the main thing is this. The archbishop would say this. And as Solomon was anointed king by Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet. Now, these people have nothing to do with Zadok or Nathan the prophet. Okay? These Europeans have nothing to do with Zadok. Okay? These Germans have nothing to do with Zadok or Nathan. Okay? Now, we're talking that Solomon was anointed king by Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet. So, you'll be anointed, blessed, and consecrated queen, king or queen over the peoples, whom the Lord your God has given you to rule and to govern. What else it says? It says, do justice. Stop the growth of inequity. Now, have there been any justice coming from that kingdom? Okay? Have there been any stopping the growth of inequity? It's not even iniquity, it's inequity, disorder. Has there been any order in over there where they at? Do justice, stop the growth of inequity. It takes nothing but a Google search to find out how many people had issues with these fake queens over there, fake queens and kings and princes and princesses. It's just a little Google search. You'll see how many stories are being told about that family and the shenanigans that they're involved in. Now, do justice, stop the growth of inequity, protect the Holy Church of God. Now, the Holy Church of God are the people of God. Have they been protecting us? No, what they have done. Now, I cannot talk intelligently about this because I have never looked it up. I've only heard it from the brother's channel, Dumb Diversa. What they have done is write laws and decrees. What they have done is consulted crafty counsel. What they have done is get together and plot and scheme and figure out ways to sink our battleship. They have not done justice. They have not stopped the growth of inequity. They haven't protected the Holy Church of God, which are the people of the Most High. The Holy Church of God is not the Catholic system. It's not the Catholic Church. This is a whole Babylon. This is the church of Satan that sits upon many waters, that has its reach in many, many nations. Do justice, stop the growth of inequity, protect the Holy Church of God, help and defend widows and orphans. Now, how many widows and orphans we have in our neighborhood? How many widows and orphans we have throughout the entire Caribbean nations? How many widows and orphans we have in all the nations that these people are into sucking all the resources from these nations and have not paid any attention to the widows or the orphans? Okay? The king who is being coronated or the queen is supposed to restore the things which are gone to decay. Restore the things which are gone to decay. There's a lot of land that have gone to decay that is not being restored. A lot of neighborhoods right here in Brooklyn, in East New York, Brownsville, all over America, Chicago, that are going to decay and not being restored. Maintain the things that are restored. Now, things that are restored have to be maintained. And the only thing that is being maintained is the palace, because this is where they at. The only thing that is being maintained is their bank account. The only thing that is being maintained is the wealth that they have acquired and that they're still acquiring from the theft that they're doing every day, the rapine, the violent seizure of land by bloodshed. That's the only thing that is being maintained. Maintain the things that are restored. Punish and reform what is amiss. Now, this is what they want to do every day. They want to punish and reform. They want to punish the Holy Church of God, the people of the Most High. So they built how you call those things? Jail houses. They hire cops and whatever that they love to promote, to terrorize the people of God. So they like to punish. Okay, I don't know about reform, what is a means. So I guess they look at us a lot of time. They come and start the shit, and then they wanna write legislation to reform what they have rendered iniquitous, what they have contributed in the decay of. Right? They punish and reform what they have messed up. Okay? They come into your neighborhood and drop the crack, drop the cocaine, and drop the guns with the ammunition. Now they want to write legislation to come to punish and reform what they have done. Okay? But that's not what was supposed to happen. The king and the queen is supposed to punish and reform what is amiss, confirm what is in good order. Okay? That's one. What's another one? Down here it says, so the orb. Let's look at the orb one more time. So now, let's look at the orb before I read what I was about to read. This is the orb, okay? And we're going to read something about the orb real quick. Look at the orb real good. There's something about this orb that you're going to find out. That might going to blow your mind. So down here it says, when you see this orb thus under the cross, remember that the whole world is subject to the power and to the empire. That's the whole thing. The orb represents the earth and the cross represents the Most High. So the Most High is on top of the orb, which is on top of the world. So when the king or the queen see the orb, right? And we're gonna talk further about the orb. We're gonna get into it a little bit further. They should remember that the whole world is subject to the power and the empire of the Most High. And this is what they should remember. Okay? What else they're saying here? Okay? Then the queen still sitting in the king's in the chair. It does not belong to King Edward. The archbishop, assisted with other bishops, shall come from the altar. Okay? The dean of Westminster shall bring the crown, and the archbishop taking the crown with reverence, put it on the queen's head. Okay? This is the hijack right here. This is the whole hijack. and then they say this word, and then down here, and they say this. The Most High, the Archbishop, steps up and say this to the king, to the queen. The Most High crown you with a crown of glory and with a crown of righteousness, that by the mystery or the ministry of this, our benediction. So this is what they call this, right? But now remember, they don't write these things. They just take it from what was there. They just take these writings, the precepts, the blueprint from what was already established. Maybe they have tweaked it a little bit along the way. God crown you with a crown of glory and righteousness, that by the ministry of this our benediction, having a right faith and manifold fruit of good works, you may obtain the crown of an everlasting kingdom by the gift of him whose kingdom endures forever. Okay? And then after the crowning, the sovereign is presented with the Holy Bible, and he says, the most valuable thing that this world affords. Here is wisdom. This is the royal law. These are the lively oracles of God. Now the Bible is the what? Lively oracles of the Most High. Now the Bible that they have is not the Bible that you have. These people have the originals, the original artifacts that came from the ancestors. Okay, so this is the actual crowning, okay, of Elizabeth. Okay, this is the chair. Once again, we're gonna get into it further. Okay, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this ampulla. Okay, because this is a very important. It was in this picture right there. All right, this is what you just looked at right now. So let's go to another book sent to me by Johnny Edwards, The Secrets of the Stone of Destiny. Okay, the secrets of the Stone of Destiny. Now, how important is this stone? Okay, how magical is this stone? How powerful is this stone? How powerful is the stone, the king stone of Thebes, the king stone at Scone? How powerful is it? Let's find out how powerful the stone was in the days that the stone was being used by the people that were supposed to use it, assigned to use it. We're in this book called The Secrets of the Stone of Destiny, Legend, History, and Prophecy by Adrian Gilbert. And it says this, on page 33, go figure. The annals of Clon Nak Nois have quite a bit to say about the Stone of Destiny also. Although they attribute its manufacture to the young craftsmanship of an earlier race in our land, the Thoti, the Danaan, or Tuarade Danaan, okay, the Dan, the Tuatha, the Dan, Aan, or Dana, di Anaan, Danaan, who he says were vanquished by the sons of Milites, right? Because, watch this. This is what they say about this. Now, the stone of the King's Stone is also called the Stone of Destiny. Now, they're trying to say it's two different stones, but it's the same stone. It's the same stone. These people thought he the Danaan or Danan, thought he the Danan were most notable magicians. They would work wonderful things whenever they pleased. They would trouble both the sea and land, darken both sun and moon at their pleasure. They did frame a great broad stone, which they called Layafel, or the stone of our land. By their art and placed the same at Tara, which by enchantment had this property. When anyone was born, listen to this. When anyone was born to whom the king of Ireland was predestined or predestinated, when anyone was born to whom to be king, forgive me, when anyone was born to whom to be king of Ireland was predestinated, as soon as the party was born, stood, the person would stood, or they would place that child or whatever upon the stone forthwith. Immediately, the person who was born, the child who was born, will be placed standing upon the stone. Immediately, forthwith, the stone would give such a shouting noise that it was heard from sea to sea throughout the whole kingdom, which presently would satisfy the party standing on the stone. Now, did you hear that? As soon, this is how they knew who was going to be king. This is how they knew who would be next in line. This is what happened to Excalibur. When the right person came through the sword just slid out. When anyone was born to whom it was destined to be king, okay? When anyone was born to whom to be king of Ireland was predestinated, as soon as the person was born, they stood upon the stone, or a child, they would hold the child upon the stone, and immediately the stone would give a shout. A shouting noise that was heard from sea to sea throughout the whole kingdom. Now, who was shouting? Was it the stone shouting? No. It wasn't the stone shouting. It was the spirits in the stones. It was the spirit in the stones. Ibidel, don't cry for me. Cry out with me. The stones of Ibidel were crying out for a king. For the next king. The next king. They would know who would be next in line. When they placed the stone, the child upon the stone. And the stone will make a shout that would be heard from sea to sea. You know what that means, being heard from sea to sea? That means everybody, wherever they were, whatever nearby kingdom or faraway kingdom, will know a king. A king just came through. Okay, let's keep reading. Throughout the whole kingdom, which presently, okay, would be good for whoever stood on stone. Now let's go. It says, and all the rest of his future fortune to the right of the crown. This stone remained a long time in the kings of Ireland's palace of Tara, whereon many queens and kings were crowned until it was sent over into Scotland by the king of Ireland with his son Fergus, who was created the first king of Scotland. Fergus was the first king of Scotland on that stone, and for a long time after all the kings of Scotland received the crowns thereon, until the time of King Edward the First, who took the same stone as a monument into England in the wars between him and Scotchmen. All right, Mr. Edwards, who sent me the book, wrote, this was the hijack right here. In the wars between him and Scotchmen, and placed it in Westminster Abbey, where many a king of England had been likewise crowned thereupon, and is so be seen amongst other monuments this day. Now there have been a number of kings crowned on the stone of destiny, and I'm going to show you guys right now. But this is how the ancestors knew who would be next in line. The spirits in the stones will shout from sea to sea throughout the whole kingdom, and there would be no doubt as to whom the next king would be. Now, you could get other accounts in your Bible, how kings were chosen. But in this society here, according to these records that we have here in our hand presently, there were other ways that kings were chosen, and one of these ways were to put that ass on the stone. Okay? The stone of destiny, the witness stone of stones, the witness stones of Jacob. Now, Jacob had many stones. Some of the stones that Jacob erected was between him and Laban. Sort of like used the stones as a property line. Okay, in this right here in this paragraph, Jacob erected stones with his uncle Laban to be a boundary between their respective family ranges. Okay, so now the stones also had, we know it, not had, they still do, they have planetary alignments and zodiacal with the zodiac with the constellations. They are linked to zodiacal constellations. Okay, this is why I showed you that other book. This one right here, ley lines and earth energies. Okay, and you see where that line is coming from the sky. All right, so how many kings have been crowned on these stones? You can read the top. Okay, but down here we find there have been 7 kings crowned on the stone of destiny. So let's read it. If we approach the story of Jacob's stone from the other end of the British Isles, other than the stone of destiny itself, do we find any parallel? Yeah, it's the same stone. As it turns out, the idea of using a stone as a witness to a coronation was fairly common in Britain. In Saxon times, the most famous such stone was one that is still to be seen in the marketplace of the Sherry town, now called London suburb, of King's Stone upon Thames. Like the stone of destiny, though larger and more irregular in shape, it is a black sandstone, or is a block of sandstone. 7 kings are said to have been crowned on this stone: Edward the Elder, Athelstan. Edward the Elder, son of Alfred the Great. Athelstan, son of Edward the Elder. Edmund, brother of Athelstan. Edred, another brother of Athelstan, and Edmund. Edwig, son of Edmund. Edward the Martyr, son of Edgar and nephew of Edwig. And finally, Ethelred, the Unready, brother of Edward the Martyr. Ethelred the Unready died in 1016. He was, of course, the father of Edward the Confessor, whose shrine is still in Westminster Abbey. Okay? So now, when you read this record right here, you're going to find out there are several other stones, prominent stones, still preserved in England in Abbey. There is a stone called London Stone. I'm not sure if it's in this book. Maybe it's another book. There are several more other stones that they have possession of that mean a lot to them. Now, I will go into this further in another video and show you guys, go deeper and further into the esoteric and the more mystical aspect of the sacred sites and the stone in another video. But now you kind of see now the stone that Jacob used with Laban as a witness stone for their contract that they had when Jacob lived with Laban. And they used, Jacob erected stones as sort of like a property line to separate his property from Laban's property, because Laban had problems, man. He had issues. He was not right in the head. You understand what I'm saying to you? You know the story. And Also, all over the records, you know, stones were used as a witness. The no stones were used as a witness. Cause Ibidel is the witness stone. You know that history you know very well. We don't have to go into that. So we get again another record of the stone of destiny. Okay, this is a massive piece of paper. It's really huge. It's just a little piece of it. On the front of it, it has a history. Let me see. I have some writing here about Jacob's pillar. So we go say history relates that it is the stone where the patriarch Jacob laid his head. So over here they tell you how big was the stone. Okay, the chair, commonly called St. Edward's chair, in an ancient seat of solid hardwood made with oak. We already know, with back and size of same whatnot. We already read that. 6'7" in height, 38 inches by 24, 25 in breadth, and by 28 inches at 9 inches from the ground to the board. Okay, they give you a little bit more description here. So what else it says here? Between the seat and this board is enclosed a stone commonly called Jacob's, or the fatal marble stone. They call this the fatal marble stone. I'm not sure why it's called the fatal marble stone. Maybe people have died who were not chosen to sit on the stone. Maybe there are some accounts of dead kings and queens that are not recorded. This is why they probably call it the fatal marble stone, the death stone, which is oblong, about 22 inches in length by 13. There you go, 22 Aleph Biyet, 22 angels. The Otiyat, the Otiyot, 22 by 13, 13, which represents the whole house of Israel. The whole house of the Yahudims. Now let's go. History relates that this stone is the patriarch stone, the stone of Jacob, where he laid his head in the plain of Luz. Now, if you go into the pseudepigrapha, or if you go and check out the video I already recorded called the Song of Ibidel, the Stone of Jacob, you will find that story, okay? So in down here, though, there's something I want to point to your attention. It said that the stone was brought to Brigantia in the kingdom of Galicia in Spain, in which, so it was brought to Brigantia. Where did it come from? Because right here in Connecticut, we have Jacob's Ladder Trail. Not far from me, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we have Jacob Ladder's Trail. So the stone was brought to Brigantia in the kingdom of Galicia in Spain. But where was it taken from? In which place Gathol, king of Scots, sat on the stone as his throne. So this was before they built a chair around it. Okay, this is more modern time. And back then, when it was nice and natural and raw, they just sat on the stone. It was conveyed into Ireland by Simon Brack, who was king of Scots, about 700 years before Christ's time. From there into Scotland, it was brought by King Fergus about 370 years afterwards. And in the year 850, it was placed in the Abbey of Scone. This is why they call it the Stone of Scone, because it was in the Abbey for a long time. In the sheriffdom of Perth by King Kenneth, who caused there to be enclosed in this wooden chair and a prophetical verse to be engraved, of which the following is a translation. Now, I'm going to read you the verse. King Kenneth cut the stone. Or, what I like to say, they probably they carved out a hole in the ground and only allowed the top to show and built the chair around it, but the entire stone is probably still there underneath the ground where you can see. Okay, this is the verse that was engraved, and it says this: should fate not fail, Wherever this stone is found, the Scots shall, monarchs of that realm, be crowned. Now remember now, they call this the fatal marble stone. The fatal marble stone. Why they call it the fatal marble stone, the death stone? Not sure. But down here, he says, should fate not fail. Sometimes fate fail. There have been some people who stood on this stone and they were not ordained to stand on this stone. This is why it was called a fatal marble stone. Should fate not fail, wherever the stone is found, the Scots shall be the monarchs of the realm. Okay? And be crowned as such. So now, we locate the stone of destiny, the stone of Jacob, that he used as a pillow and called the place Bethel. And he made a covenant with the Most High. Okay? And he poured olive oil on the stone. And he prayed to the Most High. He anointed the stone of destiny. The stone was carried to Scotland. But where did it come from? We know it had to come from another place. And they carried it over. Because in this book, the sacred symbols of Mu, the strange, the true story of the occult origins of ancient and modern religions, we find out about another stone called the pipestone quarry, which is only found in one spot on the earth as far as non-geology is concerned. We are on page 183. This pipestone quarry, geological name is Catlinite. The name of the stone is Catlinite. Claimed by some that Catlinite is also found at a place called Fuerte Farm, 3 miles from Portsmouth, Ohio. The only way that this can be decided satisfactorily is by comparing the chemical analysis of the stone. The pipestone in Ohio. Okay? And at Fuerte Farm. According to Indian traditions, the location of the pipestone quarry was lost for a long period of time. Its rediscovery forms one of the Sioux legends, which is this. The Indian legends about the pipestone and other subjects are fascinating. And when shown of their mystical or mythical adornments, tell us that the first Americans came from Mu, which adds another link to the overwhelming chain of evidence that America was Mu's first colony, and that America today is the oldest land above water that has been inhabited by men. America is the oldest land of today that has been inhabited by men. America antedates Atlantis. America antedates Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and other ancient nations. The Pipestone Indian legends also show that the first Americans were highly civilized people and that they came from a land in the west beyond the setting stone. Okay? Omaha and Yorktown Indian legends relate that Warrigala, the Omaha wife of a Yorktown Sioux, following the trail of a white bison, discovered the pipestone on the banks of the Pipestone Creek, where it had been exposed by the bison's hoof. America, the most ancient land, antedates Egypt, Greece, Atlantis, Babylonia, India, and other ancient nations. So if America, the first Americans came from Mu, and America antedates all these lands, America is the oldest land where man came from. So the stone of destiny, that was brought to Brigantia in the kingdom of Galicia in Spain. Where did it come from? Where did it come from? And how do you explain this? Jacob's Ladder Trail, scenic byway in Connecticut, native land, Quinocticut, a place filled with sacred sites, stones upon stones upon stones upon stones, everywhere you turn in every town. The whole Connecticut is a sacred site. The whole freaking state. So you can explain that. You know why? Because this is where it come from. I want to show you guys something. Yes, I want to read this article to you right now about the orb and the symbols of monarchy, the orb and the scepter. Okay? The Crown Chronicles found this article here several days ago. History from across the centuries, royalty from the 21st. So let's go into this article real quick and point out some things. Okay, so you see the queen here, Elizabeth II, holding the orb. Remember what she was supposed to remember when she holds the orb in her hand, or when whoever has the orb. But these people are hijackers. They don't honor. Just like our ancient ancestors, some of them didn't honor the kingdom. That's why they lost it, right? The sovereign's orb. There's two types of orb, actually. This is why in the picture you saw two, right? Maybe not. But there are two types of orb. One is called the sovereign's orb. Part of the crown jewels, officially named. It is a symbol of godly power. A cross above a globe, which represents Christ's or the Most High's dominion over the world, as the monarch is God's representative on the earth. The moon arc, okay? So when you hold the globe, you are the moon arc, the monarch, moon arc, and you are God's representative on the earth. And presumably, allegedly, you should be doing God's work. You should be doing God's work when you hold the orb and sit on that domain and wear that crown and live in that palace. You should be doing God's work, taking care of the widows, the orphans, the poor, the destitute, restore equity. The orb made for Charles' second coronation in 1661, 30 centimeters wide, hollow gold sphere, mounted with 9 emeralds, 18 rubies, 9 sapphires, 365 diamonds, one for every day, 375 pearls, 1 amethyst, and 1 glass stone. The pearls divide the orb into 3 sections, which represent 3 continents. They didn't know about the 4th part, huh? Medieval rules believe existed. It weighs about 1.32 kilogram, roughly 43 ounces. The sovereign's orb, part of the crown jewels, features hundreds of precious stones and represents God's power on the earth. Now this is the orb. Now when you go back to the ancestors, to the people back then, what was this picture I had here? Something I wanted to show you. Ay, 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 ay. Let me see if I have it on my phone. The orb was always in the hands of the Moors, right? The Moors had the orbs all the time. This is not something that they didn't have. They always had it. So I told you, these people, you already know. They just hijack, imitate what's already there. Image, send this to Zohar Kabbalah at Gmail. So let's go to Zohar Kabbalah at Gmail. Oh, we're already here. Boom. So we have Prince William cannot be our. There you go. Let's get that. Prince William cannot be the next king. So now this is the orb. Okay? This is the Moorish melanated brother here with the orb, looking like royalty. Okay? That's an orb. Looks like it was. It's a beautiful orb. It's quite different from the one being described in the record that I'm reading to you guys. This has several parts. There's no cross on top. It's different than this one. All right? It's different than this one. What else we see here? Something I read that's crazy. I gotta read it to you guys. Okay? This is all your artifacts. This is your money. This is your wealth. These are the things that Most High told Jeremiah to take to the earth and tell the earth to hold on to them until the proper time. And the earth opened up and hid those precious things of the temple. Okay? So what else did he have? He had clusters of emeralds, rubies, and sapphires surrounded by rose-cut diamonds, each in a champlev enamel mount between single rows of pearls. It is a representation to the sovereign. After they put on the imperial robe, the orb is brought from the altar by the Dean of Westminster, 10%, and given to the Archbishop of Canterbury to place into the monarch's right hand. And there he says, receive this orb set under the cross, and remember that the whole world is subject to the power and the empire of Christ our Redeemer. This is what is being said. Okay? And these are other things you can read, but it's something I want you to see here. Measuring 92 centimeters, the scepter holds the world's largest diamond. Now remember, it was separated by 3 parts, 3 continents. The 4th continent was not here. America was not part of this design, right? So they said the scepter right here, this one right there, this is the scepter. I have a picture of it. I'll bring it up in a second. The scepter measured 92 centimeters. Go read Psalm 92. Found in South Africa in 1905, holds the world's largest diamond, gifted to Edward VII in 1907. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe this is the scepter right there. Close and accept. This is the scepter. In the middle holds the world's largest diamond. However, this is a little piece of the diamond. This is not even the biggest diamond ever. They're going to tell you right here. They're going to tell you right here. The scepter holds the world's largest diamond, gifted to Edward VII in 1907 to help mend relationships between Britain and South Africa after the Boer War. Then it was cleaved. The diamond that they found in Africa was taken to Amsterdam, cut down into 9 parts, and 97 smaller brilliant pieces of the diamonds also were cut, or it was cut into 9 parts plus 97 brilliant diamonds. Okay, the largest part of the 9 parts which were cut was a whopping 530 carats, and that part was set into the scepter in 1910, first used by George V's Coronation. Now this is it. This is the largest part of the 9 parts and the 97 other parts, and this one is 530 carats. What is that, right? This is 530 carats. So you mean to tell me the world's largest diamond was just given away? Africa couldn't use that diamond to better their society? And it goes further. Why Prince Charles must be the king. And it goes further into other things that you could go ahead and research yourself, which I'm not going to read right now. You mean to tell me Africa couldn't use all these diamonds themselves? Now, when we talk about Africa, what we talk about here, we know in Africa there was a land called Negro land. We know within Africa himself were the Shemites in Negro land. So here are your artifacts. Here are your wealth. Here are your scepters and your crowns, your diamonds, your pearls, your rose-cut gold, your swords, your impula. Here are the things that belong to you, people of the Most High. What is this gold eagle called the impula? The gold eagle called the impula. This is the impula. This is the spoon. It was jealously guarded, privileged, confined originally to the kings of England. Originally, right? That's the word you need to remember here. Confined to the original kings of England that the stones made a shout for. France claimed that their kings were anointed with oil which has been especially brought down from heaven. Somewhat similar legend was current in England, where the oil was said to have been given to Thomas Becket. When in exile, he received it by the Blessed Virgin. The oil is now placed at a coronation in the golden eagle or the impula, which is possibly part of the original regalia and escaped destruction during the Crown William period. The oil, when required, is poured through the beak of the eagle into the spoon, of which the handle is unquestionably of the, once again, the 13th century. The Most High made sure on purpose that the 13th century played a big part in all this history. So you know exactly who is he talking to. who these things belong to. Down here they have the coronation ring. Now listen to this though. This was oil that came from heaven. Because when the child was put on the doorman shouted from sea to sea. The doorman shouted from sea to sea. And the oil was taken from heaven and brought down to the earth at the right time for the next king to be crowned king of Scotland. It's fitting that the oil would come from the heavens. The history of the coronation, your wealth, your land, your history, everything you have taken by other nations, imposters, living the life you should be living. But why? Return, Jacob. Return, Ephraim. Return, Judah. Return, Manasseh. Return, Reuben. Return, Levi. Return, Naphtali. Return, the whole house of Israel. Return and repent. Now, you know, some people would say this is all exoteric. Well, your birthright, what belongs to you by birth because of who you are, of who you were created to be by your race. This birthright entails the land, the resources, the wealth, everything. The stone of Jacob is right now in England. And somebody who's not qualified is going to be sitting on it once again. It's about time we tell them no. A couple of weeks ago, the Most High was speaking to us, a couple of months ago, by the stone quarry, the stones that came down in Georgia. The Georgia stone guides came down. Most High was speaking loudly. Couple of weeks ago, the other stone of famine came up and says, if you see me, hunger stone came up. The stone says, if you see me weep. Hunger stones resurface across Europe as a warning from drought past or drought present, because there was a massive drought in Connecticut this summer. Droughts all over the world. The stones are speaking loudly. But let's hear. And now, once again, the stones are speaking to us right now. Psalm 118, verse 21 and 22 says, I will praise you, for you have heard me, and you are my salvation. The stone which the builders refused has become the headstone of the corner. This is the Lord's doing. This is the Lord's doing. KJV says, I will praise thee, for you have heard me, and you have become my salvation. The stone which the builders refused is become the headstone of the corner. We are the stones the builders refused, yet we are the people destined to arise once again in holiness and righteousness by repenting, by acknowledging that we have been going the wrong way, by speaking to the Most High and reconnecting back to the Father, Mother, to the earthly Mother, to the celestial Mother, and to our Creator, our Framer, our Shaper, reclaiming what's rightfully ours. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. All these sites are crying out. I told you several weeks ago. Are you listening? You are a son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the stone of Scone, the stone of destiny, which belongs to your father, Israel, is being used and abused by illegitimate. Is that a word? Yeah. It's just another word. By people who are not qualified. Illegitimate. Not authorized by the law. Illegitimate. Illegitimate. Not authorized by law. Not in accordance with accepted standards or rules. This stone is being used by unlawful, illegal criminals, felonicious, unlicensed, unwarranted, unsanctioned, forbidden, barred, unauthorized, unofficial, prohibited, fraudulent imposters. Get your stuff back.